My name is Harry Smith. I would like you to know a little bit about my life. My story all started when I was born on May 8 in 1900, in Swedesport, Louisiana. With my older brother Curtis Ballerst, born in 1898, my brother Ollie, in 1901, my brother Henry, in 1902, my brother Gus, and my sister Juanita, who was not born until 1910 when I was 10 years old. My father Willie Smith was born in Catawba, Louisiana. My mother Elizabeth was born in Catawba, Louisiana. Also, my mother lived a lot of her time living with me, helping me raise the boys. After my wife and I broke up, I thought working was more important than spending time with my wife and family. I almost lost them all. I did lose my wife, but my mama and I raised the boys. In 1712, there were only 10 Africans in all of Louisiana. In this early period, European indentured servants submitted to 36-month contracts did most of the work, clearing land and laboring on small-scale plantations. This would change dramatically after the first 2 ships carrying captive Africans arrived in Louisiana in 1719. These ships, which originated in the west coast of Africa, carried captive rice farmers who brought the agricultural expertise to grow Louisiana's rice plantations into profitable businesses for their European owners. In addition to enslaved Africans and European indentured servants, early Louisiana's plantation owners used the labor of Native Americans. In 1722, nearly 170 indigenous people were enslaved on Louisiana's plantations. Marriages were relatively common between Africans and Native Americans. Griff was the racial designation used for their children. The Africans enslaved in Louisiana came mostly from Senegambia, the Bight of Benin, the Bight of Biafra, and West Central Africa. A few of them came from Southeast Africa. Shreveport became the commercial and industrial center for a 3-state region, known as the Arklatex. Important products include petroleum, natural gas, chemicals, iron and steel products, cotton, and lumber. I heard some people talking about Oklahoma that used to be named Indian Territory. I was working at the train station keeping up with the yard and property. This guy was talking to some black Native Americans. He said that he used to work for Benjamin Harrison, and if they had set up a Dawes Commission in Oklahoma Territory, that if your name was on the Dawes Commission that you could get paid. So I heard him talking and I sit down and start talking with them. Also his name was Kurt Franklin and he used to work for Benjamin Harrison, and he said there was an oil boom in Oklahoma and he knew exactly where the oil was, and he was on his way to go buy the land and start the oil business there. And he said he needed some people to help him work, so that's how I went to Oklahoma. I went to Oklahoma to work with this guy named Wirt Franklin. This is the story of Wirt Franklin. An attorney and an oilman, Wirt Franklin was born at Richmond, Missouri, on March 22, 1883, to John H. and Irene Hudgens Franklin, and grew to adulthood in Kansas and Illinois. The family lived in Washington, D.C., for 4 years while John Franklin served in the administration of President Benjamin Harrison, 1889–93. In 1900 Wirt Franklin graduated from high school at Lakin, Illinois. That summer he returned to Washington. There he worked as a stenographer for the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs while attending law school at Columbian University, now George Washington University. In 1902 Franklin went to Muskogee, Indian Territory, with the Dawes Commission to enroll tribal members in the Choctaw and Chickasaw nations. He resigned that post in 1905, moved to Ardmore to establish a law partnership with Samuel A. Apple, and was admitted to the bar on January 24, 1907. Franklin practiced law until 1913 when he played a pivotal role in establishing the Healdton Field. At that time he formed the Crystal Oil Company. Over the next 4 decades he was actively involved with several other firms including Apple Franklin Oil Company, Franklin, Ashton, and Fair Oil Producers, Cromwell Franklin Oil Company, and Wirt Franklin Oil Company. Additionally, Franklin's involvement in regional oil associations culminated in his playing a central role in the 1929 establishment of the Independent Petroleum Association of America. He served for 6 years as its first president. During World War II, Franklin worked in the federal government's Office for Petroleum Administration. In later years he was the first recipient of the Oklahoma Petroleum Council's Outstanding Oklahoma Oilman Award. He was married 3 times and fathered 5 children. Wirt Franklin died at Dallas, Texas. I married my sweetheart Virginia White on December 28, 1921. She was born in 1903, in Ardmore. We had 2 sons. We had our son Harry Jr. on April 4, 1922. And Wesley on October 1, 1924. And Bobby Jean, who died as a baby. My only girl. Harry Jr. married Catherine Ashley in 1942, in Jacksonville, Florida. And Wesley married Mary Ann in Ardmore, Oklahoma. She was from Long Grove, Oklahoma. Virginia and I had 4 grandsons: Harry III, Michael, Wesley Jr. and Craig, and we had 6 granddaughters: May Frances, who was adopted but she's ours too, Juanita, Barbara, Deborah, Regina, and Velma. Be sure to see their stories. I'm glad I could share my deep story with you. I hope you found this fascinating. Remember, I am an ancestor. And I love you no matter how far down the line. Talk to me. I will answer. It will be the good, right thing to do. You have to know right from wrong. Hotep. Wesley and 2 of his children, Barbara and Deborah.